the Lord took me into India. There's a very big distress there.
I see difficult days ahead of you. Kutawaka.
God has spoken to me again right now. He took me to India. I see the Lord took me into India. There's a very big distress there. You see a lot of people swarming into the hospital. I see the lack of equipment. Now there is no equipment. The doctors are running up and down, and many people flooding into the hospital. The Lord took me to Asia, and I see a lot of people rushing into the hospital, being rushed. There's the procedure being done on somebody, and then there is testing. So somebody told me, well, he makes one of the doctors there to speak with me, and he says, we don't have equipment. What we do is take this, and they will take a little and put on the culture to see. So there is going to be a big distress that is going to come into Asia, a big disease. Distress of disease is coming. There will be a disease emergency in Asia. That distress will be like none other, a distress that has not been seen. This kind of distress, like God has shown me just a few minutes ago when He took me to Asia, will develop on this earth, will throb on this planet Earth.
The Lord has come out to strike the earth for their iniquity, for their sin, for their blackmail, for their blasphemy, abomination, immorality. Hallelujah. Kutawaka. I see difficult days ahead of you.
For a fifth consecutive day, India has set a global record for daily infections and deaths. But health experts believe the real numbers could be much higher. For every 200 patients, only one doctor was available.
So we are struggling.
So many like her are putting in all they can.
इमरजेंसी केस है, बहुत लो है, बहुत ज्यादा लो है। सर एक बार चेक कर लो। इसी के बारे में बोलो। खोलो हॉस्पिटल के सामने उन्होंने आए साथ में भी आए थे। ले जा रहे मम्मी ले जा रहे बालाजी काहे ऐसे कैले हाथे ए अरे जल्दी बुलाई ये मुंह से झाग निकल रहा है। बालाजी, तू हमारा आवाज सुन रहा है?
The Lord has spoken to me again right now. He took me to India. The Lord took me into a hospital in India. There's a very big distress there. The doctors are running up and down and many people flooding into the hospital.
Kutawaka on that day, katika siku hiyo.
This is CNN Breaking News.
At the Sima Puri crematorium, the loss weighs heavily in the smoldering air, and the dead are piling up.
There are bodies literally everywhere you turn here. I've honestly never seen anything quite like it. And the organizers say that pre-COVID, they might cremate 7 or 8 people a day. Today alone, they've already cremated 55 bodies, and it's not even lunchtime.
Just months ago, India's leadership boasted that the country had effectively defeated COVID. Now it has set global records for new cases as a terrifying second wave ravages the country. Jitender Singh Shunti says he and his men don't even stop to take breaks. And still, they can barely cope with the flow. A volunteer approaches. They've run out of tables for the bodies, he says, then adds that his mother died from COVID the night before.
Do you believe the government figures, the death tolls, the COVID figures that they're giving, or do you think the real figures are much higher?
The numbers that you're seeing on television are the numbers of people who are dying in hospitals, he says. They're not factoring in the people who died at home in isolation. If those numbers are added, the actual number will go up by 3 times. To keep up with those mounting numbers, the crematorium has been forced to expand, creating an overflow area in a neighboring car park. So India's capital continues to burn, suffocated by the rampant spread of this deadly virus. A city and a country brought to its knees, praying for respite.
I see the Lord took me into India. There's a very big distress there. You see a lot of people swarming into the hospital. I see the lack of equipment now. There's no equipment. The doctors are running up and down and many people flooding into the hospital.
Meanwhile, another female patient with low oxygen passed away after she was brought to the GTP hospital. While the doctor tried to save her by giving her CPR, patients could be seen lying outside the emergency ward with people pleading hospital staff to provide their loved ones with oxygen masks. India's healthcare system is under severe stress.
India's COVID-19 emergency reaches critical levels. Hospitals are out of beds and oxygen, and crematoriums don't have space for the dead. Overwhelmed hospitals are turning away the critically ill.
I'm a health worker, but if someone dies in my family, I won't even be able to say final goodbyes.
I see the Lord took me into India. There's a very big distress there. You see a lot of people swarming into the hospital. I see the lack of equipment now. There's no equipment. The doctors are running up and down and many people flooding into the hospital.
We probably, you see, we as a doctor, we as a hospital, we are supposed to give life. If we cannot give them oxygen even, what is the situation? When patient comes to, the patient will die. Patient will die. They are trying to help, but there is no oxygen, sir. There is no oxygen. We know this.
At this hospital on Delhi's outskirts, the patients are gasping for oxygen. 100 more are waiting outside, despite being told there's not enough gas or beds. Their best hope is that if somebody here dies, then that will free up a place.
We are definitely overburdened. We are already working at the full capacity, rather double of the capacity. Our initial ICU beds were less, but now we have increased just double the number of ICU beds.
मानसिक रूप से व्यथित हूँ, मैं रो रहा हूँ, मुझे नौकरी नहीं करना, मैं नहीं करना, इतनी गाली खाने के लिए मैं पैदा दे दिया, मैंने इस्तीफा दे दिया, मैंने अब मुझे नौकरी नहीं करना, कर दिया, दे दिया इस्तीफा मैंने। 12 बजे के आसपास एक पेशेंट बहुत सीरियस अवस्था में आया था, उसका ऑक्सीजन सैचुरेशन 30% था, 8 दिन से बुखार, खांसी और सांस लेने में तकलीफ थी और प्राइवेट में डॉक्टर हक का इलाज करा रहा था। यहाँ जैसे ही पेशेंट आया, मैंने उसको एक्सप्लेन कर दिया साथ वालों को, देखो हालत बहुत खराब है, कुछ नहीं हो सकता, एक भी बेड उपलब्ध नहीं था अस्पताल में और कहीं बाहर शिफ्ट नहीं हो सकता। मैंने वहीं रह के उसको जितनी मेहनत कर सकते इमरजेंसी में मेहनत करी, और तो इंसान है, डॉक्टर है। अब वो जैसे ही खत्म हुआ, मैं वहीं था, खत्म होने के बाद पता नहीं कहां से कुछ बाहरी लोग आ गए, 20 लोगों के सामने मेरे साथ इतना बुरा दुर्व्यवहार किया है कि मैं इतना मानसिक रूप से व्यथित हूँ, मैं रो रहा हूँ, मुझे नौकरी नहीं करना, अगर की गालियां बर्दाश्त नहीं कर सकता। मेरी गलती, मुझे 50 जूते मान लो गाली दे दो, मुझे मंजूर है, बगैर गलती के इस तरह लोग बाहर से आएंगे तो रोज कोरोना में डेथ होना, आज के दिन गाली दी, कल के दिन मारेंगे, कोई चाकूदार है पेट में, मुझे नहीं करना दादा ऐसी नौकरी। मैंने रिजाइन कर दिया है आज से और कल से मैं घर बैठूंगा दादा, मैं नहीं करना, मेरे पास करना।
The Lord has spoken to me again right now. He took me to India. The Lord took me into a hospital in India. There's a very big distress there. The doctors are running up and down and many people flooding into the hospital.
Kutawaka on that day. Katika siku hiyo.
22-year-old Vishwarup Sharma believes he is living in hell. 3 days ago, he drove his critically ill father, who contracted COVID, to a Delhi hospital and pleaded for help. With no beds, no oxygen, they were forced to wait outside.
He was saying, I won't be able to breathe, I need something, I need more medicines, but nothing is provided to him. And he died in front of me.
Overwhelmed hospitals have been the worst case COVID scenario for most nations. But this is horror on another scale entirely. The car park of a temple, where families who've been turned away from emergency rooms take their dying.
These are some of the most distressing scenes we've witnessed during the course of our reporting. And this isn't even a hospital. It's a Sikh temple where they're just helping out with oxygen and basic care. It's 45 degrees and it's so hot that the volunteers cannot even wear their PPEs. And people just keep coming and coming and coming. And there's just no room at any of the local hospitals for the people who are here.
At least 12 people die outside this temple every day. India's deadly second wave has forced the nation's supply chain of oxygen far beyond its limit. Many of those helping out are testing positive for COVID themselves. He puts his faith in his temple.
ਅਸੀਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਨੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ ਮੰਨਦੇ, ਸਾਡੀ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਨੇ ਬਾਬਾ ਨਾਨਕ ਹੈ, ਉਹਨੇ ਲੰਗਰ ਚਲਾਇਆ ਸੀ 500 ਸਾਲ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ।
Difficult days ahead of you. Naona siku zenye utata mwingi mbele zenu. The Lord has come out. Bwana ametoka with a storm, akiwa na dhoruba, to strike the earth, kuigonga dunia, for their iniquity, kwa ajili ya udhalimu wao, for their sin, kwa ajili ya dhambi yao, for their blackmail, kwa ajili ya blasphemy, kwa ajili ya makufuru yao, abomination, immorality, usherati. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Kutawaka on that day, katika siku hiyo.
The Lord has spoken to me again right now. He took me to India. The Lord took me into a hospital in India. There's a very big distress there. The doctors are running up and down and many people flooding into the hospital.
Kutawaka on that day, katika siku hii.
The Lord has spoken to me again right now. He took me to India. The Lord took me into a hospital in India. There's a very big distress there. The doctors are running up and down and many people flooding into the hospital.
Kutawaka on that day, katika siku hii. Bwana ametoka
with a storm
akiwa na dhoruba
to strike the earth
kuigonga dunia
for their iniquity,
kwa ajili ya udhalimu wao,
for their sin,
kwa ajili ya dhambi yao,
for their blackmail,
kwa ajili ya
for their blasphemy,
kwa ajili ya makufuru yao,
abomination, immorality,
usherati.
Hallelujah,
hallelujah. Kutawaka
on that day,
katika siku hii.
Rows upon rows of bodies burning on makeshift platforms as cremation grounds have become overrun. In New Delhi, India, it's come to this. So overwhelmed by
of human beings who've been unable to be properly mourned by their families and friends, who've been taken mostly, almost entirely, we're told, victims of the COVID pandemic that is rapidly coming to the stage of representing something that is almost biblical in scale here in.
We've been showing you scenes this week of crematoriums operating in some Indian cities around the clock, and Al Sam Kali is at one of them in New Delhi. We can just see behind you so many piles burning. Just give us a sense of what you're seeing, and again, a warning to our viewers that you might find some of these images disturbing.
Well, Linda, just in this area alone, it's about the size of 3/4 of a football pitch. There are close to 50 pyres burning. This crematorium believed it would probably process about 150 bodies today. There's estimated about 600 people dying every day here in New Delhi, but the truth of the matter is the numbers must be much higher. In this crematorium, the dead actually have to join a queue before they can be seen, before they can be given their last rites. People accompanying them have to take a ticket, like you would going to see the doctor or getting a bank appointment, wait their turn, and then they will be brought out to one of these locations.
It is important to show the world this brutal reality, because there are so many scenes like this, temporary crematoriums set up in parking lots and parks.
4 years later,
4년 후에
when they are fulfilled,
성취가 되었을 때 놀라운 것은
shake the whole earth until now.
지금까지 지구 전체를 흔들어 놓고 있습니다.
And I said in that prophecy,
제가 그 예언에서 이렇게 말씀드렸습니다.
that a big disease come into the earth.
지구에 큰 질병이 올 것이라고 말했습니다.
Number 2, that disease would come from Asia.
그리고 두 번째, 아시아로부터 창궐을 할 것이라고 얘기했습니다.
Number 3, I
세 번째로,
mentioned India would be affected.
그리고 인도가 영향을 받을 것이라고 말했습니다.
Look now what has happened to India.
인도에서 어떤 일이 있는지 보십시오.
They have the largest number of infection in Asia and the largest number of deaths.
그리고 그 아시아에서 가장 큰 감염자가 있었고 또 가장 많은 사망자 수가 나왔습니다. 며칠 전에 그 1,500만 명이 있는 첸나이시가 완전히 차단됐습니다.
Just a few days ago.
며칠 전에.
And at one point they locked the entire 1.3 billion people. That is historic.
네, 그리고 한때는 그 14만 명 인구가 완전히 격리 조치됐었습니다. 이것은 역사적인 것입니다.
The world's largest COVID-19 lockdown is now in effect for India's more than one.
Took me into India. There's a very big distress there.
I see difficult days ahead of you. Kutawaka! Kutawaka!
The capital is being ravaged at a frightening speed. With every pyre that burns, India's self-belief is dying. Each funeral is a story of personal loss and national shame. Charanjeev Malhotra has been helping to cremate the dead for decades. Now, he barely ever stops working. I've never seen such a terrifying situation. I can't believe that we're in the capital of India. People aren't getting oxygen and they're dying like animals, he says. We don't even have enough resources to cremate them properly.
kuigonga dunia
for their iniquity,
kwa ajili ya udhalimu wao,
for their sin,
kwa ajili ya dhambi yao,
for their blackmail,
kwa ajili ya
for their blasphemy,
kwa ajili ya kufuru,
abomination, immorality,
usherati.
Hallelujah,
hallelujah,
kutawaka,
kutawaka.
I see difficult days ahead of you.
The cloud of God is coming from heaven to visit the earth. So this appertains to New Zealand, the United States of America, Europe, everywhere. It's coming to earth. The cloud of God is coming. The cloud of God is coming. Europe, Finland, Spain, United States, South America, Concepcion, Chile, all the way to Brisbane, Canberra, to Gisborne, New Zealand, the end of the earth. South Korea, Incheon, Boryong, Busan, Beijing, Shanghai, Fushan. The Lord is coming to town. And yet the Lord is so patient. He gives you time, blessed people, between the announcement today and then, that you may not be afflicted by his coming.
Messiah is coming.